Hey everybody, hope you can hear me. Lisa F. Miller here. I'm at my favourite place. It's been a long time since I've done a live like this. And thank you to lovely Colleen Jeffs from the Honest Tech Company who said, Lise, get to the beach and do some more lives. So I'm doing one straight after a surf. I just want to show you what I've been surfing in. It wasn't small today, but boy was it fun. So here I am at a Hopi Beach, and we're at Anzac weekend this weekend. Anyone who's overseas, that's where we celebrate Australian New Zealand Army Corps. That's our way to celebrate Australian New Zealand soldiers that have passed away in wars and have fought for us, and yeah, still go out and do things. So it's this weekend, but it's Friday today, and I took some time off. So I'm just going to share this into a couple of groups. Yeah, so I just want to talk about being in the zone. You know, people talk about being in flow and in the zone. When are you in flow? Well, today when I was surfing, I was totally in the zone. I was totally in flow. And why was that? It's because I listened to my body first. I tapped in, and when I get those hits to go surfing, it's like I haven't been in weeks. I'm not saying I have to go, I should go. Gee, it's been weeks. You need to get out there, Lise, which is what I used to do quite a bit. I just was like, oh, that feels right. That feels light. And everything was eased this morning, and I got the car sorted quickly, and over I came, and there was swell, and it wasn't perfect, and it was biggish at times, and I thought, wow, this feels right. So I went out, and I had a great surf. And you know, I haven't been in over 4 weeks. I've done no extra exercise. I haven't done any upper body stuff really, not a lot more, but I found it easy to catch waves. I found it easy to paddle, and there was some bigger stuff coming through. I wasn't scared of it, not that it was huge, but I just was in total flow and totally in the zone because I listened to my body, number one, and my body was showing me, get going, Lise, let's do it. Number two, I was no judgment, you know, I was just like out there. There was 8-year-olds right through to 60-year-old men. I was the only woman out there. I wasn't comparing myself. And the days I compare myself to other people, I have crap surfs. I just go into the space of comparison, and they've got more than me, and I'm in my head. I'm mind-centric rather than body-centric, rather than my deep knowing, my superconsciousness. And today I followed the hit. I tapped in. So that was number 3. 2 is not judging myself and not caring. It was like, oh, well, what if I fall off? And I fell off a couple of times because some of them were steep, and I didn't care, and I just went back out and caught some more. So that means I'm in that surf-stoked space, what we call surf-stoked. I'm surf-stoked, but I can be like that on a day when I don't catch anything. So it's not about my body showing me or my superconsciousness showing me that it's the best surf. It's about, hey, time to get in the water. Hey, time to be out there. Hey, time to have fun and be in flow, regardless of whether you catch lots of waves or not. It's not about the end result. It's about being in the moment. And that's what I was shown today, was I was just in the moment, in flow, enjoying it, not comparing myself. And number 3, in my superconsciousness, in my deep knowing, in my space of this is where I'm meant to be this morning. And I'll go home and I'll sort the house out, and I've got someone staying the night, so I'll go and do that and might do a little bit of work. But that was what I was shown, is go to the water. And even with what wetsuit I chose, I sort of listened to my body, and it was like, shorty or long one? And it wasn't really, really cold, but the long one helps with my knees sometimes. One of my knees is swollen at the moment. And it gives a little bit of tension, support around it with the wetsuit. And my knees were great while I was out there. So that was right too. And it started to cool down, and there's a bit of wind that picked up. So having a longer one on was the right thing for me today. Where, you know, if you don't listen to your knowing and you just put any old one on and make a judgment about it, you get out there and you're cold or you're hot. So 3 main things keep us in flow. Number 1, following what feels right with our body. Our bodies are our GPS system. They really will show us. If you're sitting at the computer trying to do work and you just cannot get anything done, get up, walk around, change your state, go outside, go for a 10-minute break, do what you got to do, then come back to it, because your body's trying to show you as well. You know, the computer stops working and you start getting an ache in your shoulder or something. That is your body saying, come on, Lise, jump off the computer, go and do something else. Number 2, not judging yourself. Any judgment at all, being the brain at all, will take you out of flow. So you can be in flow, surfing or whatever, and then you start comparing to the person next to you, or you start looking at what other people have got and go into comparison. You will go out of flow, because flow is actually you're in the present moment. You're not comparing, you're not worried about the past, you're not worried about the future, you're not worried about what's coming, you're not worried about what you have and what you haven't. So total flow is you're in the present moment, and there's nowhere to get, and there's no judgment. And that's what it was like for me today out there. And then I had a quick little swim with my leg rope still around my leg with my surfboard at the end, and I feel amazing. And you know, it was an hour and a half, and I haven't done that in a long time. It was big as swell, lots of paddling, going out the rip a little bit, having to go near rocks, and I just had no point of view, no judgment of myself, and just enjoyed it, just for the sake of enjoying it. Hey Susan, how are you? Good to see you. Just talking about flow. How flow is being in the present moment. It's not judging where you are. It's not trying to force any behavior. It's not trying to work out what happened in the past and how you can fix it. It's not trying to work out what's in the future and how you can fix that right now and control it. And it's staying out of judgment, and it's listening to your deep knowing, which is not your brain. We are not brains, we're human beings, and our deep knowing is our superconsciousness, and our deep knowing is an energy. It's who we are as a being. And when we listen to our being, we know where to be, we know who to talk to, we know who to ring. I knew this morning to just come, and yet last night I wasn't like, oh, I've got to go surfing. I knew the tides would be good, but I wasn't like, oh, I have to go and I better go tomorrow. It was just like I got up and just went, had a banana, jumped in the car and went. Hardly checked the conditions or anything. I just knew to come. So it's not about perfect conditions flow either. Flow isn't about I have to get the conditions all right. It's not about, oh, you know, when I get my hair looking perfect and I've got the right dress on, and you know, I've had a good haircut and my eyebrows look good, then I'll feel good at that party I'm going to tonight. It's not about the conditions like that. It's about, am I in a space now where I'm not judging me? Am I in a space now where I'm listening to my knowing? Am I in a space now where I'm trusting my body to and listening to it? That's flow. Now, 7 or 8 or 10 years ago, I would have just about whacked you around the head if you'd said to me, oh, I feel so in flow at the moment. I used to get so annoyed when I watched videos on it and I saw posts on it. I used to just want to smash them, you know, because I hadn't been in flow since I was a little girl. And I had moments of it. I have moments where obviously things just clicked and you're having a cool surf, and it would only last. It would last like that hour. And then I'd be back to push and force, because my circumstances around me were not creating flow for me either. I was choosing situations where I wasn't in flow. I was choosing work situation and relationship situations where I wasn't ever going to be in flow. It was against me and what was right for me. So by shifting where I am, by pivoting, and by shifting into my own business, I'm in flow 80 to 90% of the day. Now, does that mean my life's perfect? No. I still have crappy things come up. I still have to deal with teenage kids. I still have to deal with paying my bills. But I can be in flow and have an argument with my son. That doesn't mean I'm not in flow. If he's doing something that is not right in my house or whatever, I can tell him what I need to tell him. That doesn't mean I'm not in flow, right? So it's not about conditions. Flow is also receiving what is there right now. Receiving what is there, not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, not trying to go into the future and control what my son does in 3 years' time, not going back to the past and bringing up things about what he did and he shouldn't have done that, and oh my goodness, that's not flow. That is taking yourself to an old timeline where there's trauma and drama and upset. or it's taking yourself into the future where really it's just your past operating again because you're trying to fix the future from past thinking. So when you're in your head, you're not in flow. Totally not in flow. And I work with women. They're mainly entrepreneurial, very creative women. They might not have a business yet, but they've got a lot of things on their plate. And they are hustling when they come to me. They are pushing action. They are judging themselves. They are serving others. And they don't know how to serve themselves because all the conditioning and programming they've had from family, from society is you've got to serve others first, number one. Number two, you need to work hard. Number three, you've got to nurture everybody else. That's what you do as a mum. Number four, I've got to work hard to get more money and I've got to be better. And they're always trying to improve themselves, and this is how they talk. They go, I need to get better at that, and I need to improve this, Lise. And I'm like, no, you don't. There's nothing to improve. You are amazing as you are. It's an unlearning. It's an unraveling. It's an untangling. And to do that, it's not about learning to be better and improve yourself. But yes, there are some tools you can practice and implement that I work with women with. There are some tools you can use and implement, but they're not hard to learn. It's the actual implementation that can take time because we're in our brains and our brains won't allow us to even implement it sometimes because we're in old patterns saying we're not good enough, we don't deserve to implement it. So that's why you need a coach. That's why you need someone who's going to say, hey, do you remember you're judging yourself right now? Hey, remember you're not in flow because you're trying to fix the future. Hey, remember you're a creative entrepreneurial being who has a lot of cool stuff you've got to share with the world. Why aren't you sharing it? Oh, because I have a point of view that I need to look after my family first, or whatever that is. That's why people get coaches. That's why I had to get support. But I didn't have support like my women have. I had lots of stories around money back then, number one, and there wasn't something that was at my price range a lot of the time. So I just did what I could, and I did a lot of it by myself by listening to free stuff. Now, some of that stuff took a long time. I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to access these lives, access free stuff with me, but also any paid stuff that's at a range and thing that's affordable for you. But also if you want to move really quickly through this stuff and get to more ease and bliss and get what you desire without hustle and force and judgment and being out of flow and pushing against reality, then I've got some stuff that's more high ticket stuff too, because you might want to get through something really fast. It's not really, really expensive. It's still affordable, and there's payment plans. But yeah, where are you right now? I would be asking, am I in flow 80 to 90% of the day? I wonder what it would be like to be in flow would be a great question, because your brain then opens up its filter to see another pathway. Our brains have that reticular activating system that won't even show us flow if we've not been in it for a long time. That's what mine was like. Even when there was opportunities that might have been flowing, I didn't even notice them, because your brain filters that out, okay? So just by asking, I wonder what flow would be like in my life, I wonder what that would be like, I got to actually start to feel it and sense it, because my brain opened up the filtering system and opened up those blinkers so I could start to even see it around me and how other people were in flow. And also then I started to notice tools and find tools that allowed me to get back in flow. So your brain will have blinkers and filters that won't even allow you to get support, because it only shows you this pathway that is the limitation of you and the limitations of your life and the limitations of being a woman of your age and stage. And that's why we need support. And that's my job, is also to smash the paradigms around this stuff. So by listening to my lives, you can go and find them on YouTube too. You will see there's lots of them about busting old paradigms, because when you start to see it and listen to it, you'll start to create a new possibility for yourself. So if you really want to shift into flow, it's shifting out of old paradigms too. It's shifting out of that mentality of working hard and hustling. I don't hustle anymore. And when I start to sometimes, the odd time, I'm like, hang on a minute, there's no flow here. I'm feeling really uncomfortable. My body's all tight and tense. I'm getting grumpy. Oh, that's right. I'm not in flow. Don't do that right now. So it's listening to those cues as well. But if no one's ever showed you this, how do you listen to the cues? How do you know what to look for in your body? How do you know what questions to ask and what inquiry and what journaling and meditations to do that are actually going to get you to even access a tiny bit of flow? So when you feel it, you can then next time go, oh, I know what it feels like now. I mean, that's what it was like for me. I didn't even know what it felt like. It was just so foreign to me. But once I got a taste of it, you know, my deepest desire, my superconscious, my knowing was this is where I'm meant to be. And I kept choosing. And they're not one big choice, guys and girls. It's tiny choices. The next choice of, oh, I'll do this now. Oh, I'll leave my job and go into being self-employed. Oh, you know, I'll do this in my family. These things work in my family. They give me flow. Whatever that is for you. And it's these tiny incremental choices that take you closer and closer to being you. The true Susan, the true Lisa, who doesn't hustle and grind and force and push and judge yourself to get somewhere. Man, I was a classic. Total classic. You can ask anyone. I was coaching 3 sports teams in 1 year. None of it was flow, but I thought I had to do it because, you know, no one else was doing it. I had to do it. I had to be the one. And I was a school teacher, so I can do it. Even though there were sports I didn't even play and didn't know how to play. I must have been cruddy at it because I didn't even know how to play those sports. But I had it in my head that's... I'm just going to turn it around because you might want to have a personal see who I am. So I had it in my head that I had to do it, right? I had it in my head that I had to, I do it that way, that I had to actually do all that stuff, that I had to coach 3 teams a year, that I had to be the one to work really hard in my marriage when the other person wasn't working. So, you know, that was me pushing and forcing myself. And I could blame other people, but I chose that. Why did I choose it? Because of unconscious patterning. It wasn't conscious to me why I was choosing it. And until I brought a consciousness, a clarity, and awareness to it, I couldn't shift out of it. But once I saw it and I saw that first thing, what I was choosing, yeah, I must have cried every day for 3 months when I first saw it. Because I saw what I'd created, how tired my body was, the situations I got myself into that I couldn't quite get myself out of straight away, that were going to take time. Like no credit for 5 years. You know, there was grief with that. So I had to release that and then not judge myself for what I chose and then start to rewire my brain patterns, rewire my reality in the quantum field. Because when you choose flow, you get more flow. The universe goes, oh, you like flow, you're choosing flow. So while I was in the water, I was saying, show me more of this. And I got another cool wave, show me more of this. What if this just happened all the time to me when I surfed? That's what I was asking. I was asking for more of it and being grateful and celebrating it. And that's how it works in the quantum field. You're an energetic being who's resonating at a frequency. So today I was resonating at this really high vibing, that's when you hear people say high vibing, happy, grateful frequency. And I was just getting more and more waves. Now, if it had been crappy conditions and I didn't get any, it wouldn't have mattered. I was still having fun and joyful, right? So it wasn't about catching the waves. It was about being joyful in a place that I love. So then, of course, today I'm in flow. And then I'm creating more of it by going, wow, that was really neat. I loved it. What else is possible? I wonder what else will bring me flow today. So now I'm just in flow for the rest of the day because I stepped into that. I followed my knowing. I followed my body. Now, if I'd stayed home and tried to force myself to do work, that might not have been flow, right? That might not have been ease. But I followed my knowing and stepped into that flow. And then the universe, which is the quantum field, the energetics of it, the universe is what we call quantum physics, the quantum field. It's there to support you. It can't do anything you haven't already asked for, chosen with your energy or with your thought pattern. And I hear people say, oh, the universe is conspiring against me. It can't. It can only show you who you are right back at you, who you're being. So if you have a thinking pattern right now that's hidden from you, but it always operates, because that's the unconscious pattern, we don't even know we're in it, we're not saying it, but we're thinking it unconsciously, and it's a crappy one about how shitty your life is, then that's what you're creating in the quantum field. And we all have those moments, and I still have them sometimes, but not very much. But boy, I was having them all the time. 10 years ago, I was struggling to find gratitude for me and for my life, right? And yet I was a grateful person for what was outside me, but I didn't have gratitude for me, and I was just creating more and more situations of that. So if you have the clarity and awareness to know what your unconscious pattern is, because as soon as I start to go out of flow, I start to ask and I start to look, okay, what is going on here? And as soon as you have that clarity and awareness, you can pivot. You can shift out of that unconsciousness. You can shift out of the judgment and the trauma. You can shift out of the low feeling. You can shift out of the thinking pattern. And then you're shifting out of that way of being, because that's what creates the way of being, is all of that, what I said, creates a way of being, which is the energetic resonance. That's the science. That's the energetics behind it. And then when you pivot back and shift back into a higher frequency, because you've shifted your thought again, because you're in a conscious awareness, not unconscious, then again you're back in flow and you're bringing in more flow again. So it's getting tools that then have you. So it's not like we're getting the tools so we stay out of it forever. It's not about that. It's about when you're in it, knowing when you're in it, and jumping out as fast as you can. Because we're all going to go in it sometimes, and jumping out as fast as you can. So today I allowed myself to follow the flow, follow my knowing. I went in the water and I feel amazing. I feel what you call surf stoked. I've had some sun, I've had some water. I'm starting to get a bit cooler now because it is April. I had a little swim at the end of my wetsuit where normally I just go on my togs. And then I felt like coming on here and doing a live. And thank you, Colleen Jeffs, for that little nudge the other day about being at the beach and doing it here at my favourite place in the world. So what can you do? Dump anything around that is not flow for you. And I mean physically dump it, like physically in your life, get rid of that stuff. Right? If it's certain food that you eat, I'm not talking about junk food necessarily. Maybe your body doesn't like dairy like mine. That had me out of flow. Physically remove things out of your life. If it's a hobby you have but it's no longer bringing you joy, don't do it anymore. If your job is just heavy and tough, start looking for something that excites you. If you're hanging around people all the time that you feel low and disgusting and you know what I mean, low and depressive, and not disgusting but depressive, and or you feel like you're being judged all the time, hang with people that are kind, because that stuff will bring you back to flow. Notice when you're in gratitude for yourself and others, that also has you in flow. I didn't say it before, but when I was in the water I was like, wow, this is amazing, bring me more of it, show me more of it. Gratitude brings you back into flow too. That just being grateful for where you are. And if you can't find gratitude for the people you're hanging with because they're just not kind people, find some people that are, right? And then dump on paper everywhere where you think your life is crappy, where you think you're crappy. Dump that crap on a piece of paper and burn it. It is not true. You're an amazing, phenomenal being. You have so much to offer this planet. You have your own superpowers, your own super knowing, your super consciousness. And is it the time now to get back in flow? Is it the time now to flourish? So what if I could flourish today? I wonder what flourishing looks like. I wonder what flow looks like. You have to ask, because your brain doesn't ask, it concludes and judges. That's all it does. You have to ask to rewire your brain. And that digs deep down also into your superconsciousness, your knowing, which then has you really looking and creating it with all of the energetics, creating it with all the infinite possibilities that are available to you and to everybody on this planet, right? And also reach out. I have an amazing coaching program. It's $35 US a month, but it will be going up soon. And that is for a coaching call each month. which is Monday night if you want to jump on now. It's got a masterclass each month, which is at least an hour and a half with an ebook, and you get day-to-day support in a group, and it works out about, I don't know, $49 a month or something if you're a Kiwi, 20 quid a month if you're British, if you're Australian, 40 something dollars a month, and you can pay it weekly as well. And that's called Boss of My Brain, and beautiful group of women, and it's quite small at the moment, so you get a lot of one-to-one support. Beautiful group of women from all over the world, actually. And I'm so grateful for them because they allow me to do what my genius zone is, which is supporting women, because I had to do it for me, right? So come and join me. I'm also launching another type of writing program soon, and I'm also launching a higher ticket thing for people that want to get out of this stuff within 2 or 3 months and want to just smash it and be through it. So great to have you on here, Susan. I hope this helped. I'll just give you one more look at my beautiful home beach, or Hopi Beach, which is only got about 1,800 people, and it's a school holiday, so there's still not that many people, and then it's long weekend this weekend, so it might get a few more people, but we're just so lucky. Absolutely stunning with native bush behind us, beautiful clean beaches, beautiful water. I'm so grateful. I'm flourishing here and I'm in flow, and would you like to be too? Great to have you on here, Susan, and anyone else I can't see. Love you. Take care. Bye.